What if one of the greatest legends ever told was more than just a story? What if the epic saga of Beowulf, filled with heroes, monsters, and dragons, was inspired by real events? Could this ancient tale, passed down through centuries, hold clues to historical figures and places that existed over 1,000 years ago? Today on, we explore the legend of Beowulf, historical origins. Beowulf, a heroic figure immortalized in an Old English poem, has fascinated readers and scholars for centuries. But who was he really? The epic poem tells of a mighty warrior from Geatland, what we know today as southern Sweden, who journeys across the sea to save the kingdom of Denmark from a deadly creature named Grendel. The poem dates back to around the 8th century, though it's set in an era several hundred years earlier, during a time when Scandinavia and Northern Europe were a patchwork of warring tribes and shifting alliances. Historians have long wondered if there's more to this tale than fantasy. Could Beowulf be based on an actual warrior? And could Grendel, the monstrous antagonist, symbolize a very real threat that plagued ancient societies? Let's dive into the world of Dark Age Scandinavia, a time when warrior kings ruled, sea voyages were treacherous, and the supernatural felt closer than ever. To uncover the roots of Beowulf, we first turn to the Geats, a people often mentioned in the sagas and historical records of the early medieval period. The Geats were a real tribe, situated in what is now southern Sweden, and their existence is well documented in early chronicles. They were known for their fierce warrior culture, much like the character of Beowulf himself. The Geats often fought with neighboring tribes and were skilled seafarers, traits that fit well with Beowulf's character as an adventurer and warrior hero. So is it possible that Beowulf was a real warrior of the Geats? Some historians believe he might have been based on a real person or perhaps a composite of several great warriors whose deeds were magnified over generations. This was a common practice in oral storytelling traditions, where larger-than-life figures were often created by combining multiple historical personalities. The setting of Beowulf's first great battle, the Mead Hall of Heorot, has also led historians to wonder about its historical foundation. In the poem, Heorot is a grand hall built by King Hrothgar, Lord of the Danes. Interestingly, archaeological discoveries in Denmark have revealed the remains of large mead halls from around the 6th century, aligning with the time period of Beowulf's story. The most famous of these is the hall at Lejre, a site that some believe could have inspired the legendary Heorot. Was Heorot, then, more than just a product of the imagination? These findings suggest that there might be a kernel of truth in the tale, rooted in real places and historical figures. But what about the monsters? Could creatures like Grendel and the dragon have any basis in reality? While they might seem like pure fantasy, some scholars argue that these creatures could be symbolic representations of real threats. In an era before modern science, any unknown danger, a natural disaster, a rival tribe, or even a strange animal, might have been explained through supernatural stories. Grendel, described as a bloodthirsty predator who attacks the hall at night, could represent the dangers lurking in the wild lands beyond the safety of civilization. As for the dragon, it might have symbolized the ultimate, unavoidable fate, death itself. The epic reaches its climax when Beowulf, in his old age, faces a dragon that threatens his kingdom. While dragons may not have existed, this final battle represents something universally human, the struggle to protect one's legacy and face mortality. Beowulf's heroism, even in death, reflects the ideals of courage and honor that were highly valued by the warrior cultures of the time. Finally, it's worth considering why the story of Beowulf endured for so long. This tale, one of the oldest surviving pieces of English literature, was preserved and retold because it resonated deeply with its audience. The themes of bravery, loyalty, and the clash between good and evil spoke to people in a time when life was unpredictable and often short. The epic's continued relevance even today suggests that these ancient stories still have something to tell us about human nature. So was Beowulf real? Perhaps we'll never know. But what we do know is that his legend lives on, offering a glimpse into a world both familiar and distant. A world where heroes walked the earth, fought monsters, and left behind tales that would echo through history. Thank you for joining us on where history's greatest mysteries come to life. If you enjoyed this journey into the legend of Beowulf, be sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more tales that bridge the gap between myth and history.